Good evening. Welcome to Inside the Summit League. David Brown pinch hitting for Tom Neiman this week, and we begin with the team that always has plenty of pop in its bats. North Dakota State softball won its third straight Summit League championship last week and seventh in the last 8 seasons. Heading into the NCAAs, the Bison had won 14 games in a row, and we're hoping to advance out of a regional for the first time since 2009. NDSU was in the Seattle Regional and took on the University of Minnesota in the first game on Friday, and the Bison looked strong early. Jacqueline Sertic with the strikeout of Madeline Houlihan to end the first, and then the NDSU offense would provide a spark in the second. Zoe Stavro deep to right center, right by the Husky eyes. The Bison take a 1-0 lead on the Gophers as Stavro comes flying in. But that lead would be short-lived, Minnesota hammering Sertic's pitching in the middle innings. First, it's Sydney Dwyer with the RBI double to left center. And then a little bit later, more solid hitting from Taylor LeMay. The ball falls just short of Maritza Lopez Portillo. Another run scores for Minnesota. Bottom of the fifth, one on for Paige Palkovich, deep to left and gone. The Gophers topped the Bison in game one of the regional, 7-2. So that would set up an elimination game for NDSU with Weber State on Saturday, and the start of this game would look very familiar. Great pitching early on, Sertic getting the strikeout to end the second, and then in the home half, another home run would put the Bison up early. This time it's from Portillo, 2-run shot, puts NDSU up 2-zip. And the power trip would continue in the third. Cheyenne Garcia deep to center and gone, right by those Husky eyes once again. Meanwhile, Sertic just cruising along with another strikeout. She had 12 in a complete game for NDSU. And Jackie Stifter would add yet another home run for good measure. Bison use a good measure of solid pitching and timely hitting to avoid elimination and top Weber State 5-2. So that set up another elimination game and a rematch with the Gophers later on Saturday. And for the third straight game, the Bison strike first. Bree Beatty gets a little bit of luck on the opposite field single. That drives home the game's first run for the Bison. Next batter is Zoe Stavro, another solid hit to right center. That scores Alyssa Reyna, and it's 2-0 NDSU. Top of the second, same score, same type of hit. This time it's Garcia once again to right center. The double scores Portillo, 3-0 NDSU. It'd be 3-1 when the Bison finally ran out of gas. Off the chopper in the third inning, Garcia doesn't know where to go, throws it away at third base. That allowed a Gopher run to score, cutting the lead to 3-2. And then the big blow came 2 batters later. 2 on for Sydney Fabian, going opposite field to left for the big 3-run homer. Gophers on top 5-3 at that point, and they would go on to win 7-5, eliminating North Dakota State. The Bison still looking for their first regional victory since 2009. When we come back, staying on the diamond but switching to baseball, where the Bison and the Jackrabbits had plenty on the line in their 3-game set to end the regular season. Those highlights coming up next on Inside the Summit League.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. Heading into this past weekend, the South Dakota State baseball team had a simple task: win just one game of a 3-game set at rival North Dakota State, and their spot in the Summit League tournament would be secured. On the flip side, NDSU needed a 3-game sweep of SDSU to make it themselves and eliminate the Jacks. And all the drama would unfold over all 3 games. Game 1 of the 3-game set on Thursday in Fargo. SDSU up 1-0 in the third, but not for long. Paul Funk with a funky little bloop to right. 2 runners eventually come in, and the Bison take a 2-1 lead. Top of the fifth, the Jacks nod things back up. Tony Kjolsing with the deep drive to left center. That double scores Cody Sherrow, and we're tied at 2. It would stay that way until the bottom of the 8th. 2 on for Braden Resch. The single to right scores 2 runs, and the Bison stay alive with a 4-2 win in Game 1. So on to Game 2 on Friday. It was a pitcher's duel early on. Jordan Harms with one of his 6 strikeouts for NDSU, and not to be outdone, Landon Bush with the K of his own for SDSU. We'd be scoreless until the 7th. Kjolsing, he had the tying RBI in Game 1. He gets the go-ahead RBI here with the sharp single to left. But in the home half, NDSU would square things up. Juan Gomez with a deep shot to left over the outfielder's head. Taylor Sanders just beats the throw to the plate, and the next batter is Logan Bush finds the gap on the right side of the infield. 2 more Bison runs score, and once again NDSU keeps its postseason hopes alive with a 4-1 Game 2 victory. So the season would come down to Game 3 of the set. Winner moves on, the loser season is over. SDSU up 2-0 in the 6th, then adding to it. Josh Kunzman with a double to left, scoring Cody Sherrow to make it 3-0. Jacks up 4-0, but the Bison once again make a comeback. Down 4-1 in the 8th, Drew Fearing with the double to left center. That scores Logan Bush to cut it to 4-2. 2 batters later, Ben Peterson ties the game with just 1 swing. Deep to left and gone, we are tied at 4 heading to the 9th inning. But SDSU would finally come through in the clutch. Matt Johnson with a single down the line. The Jacks would eventually score 3 in the 9th and win this one 7-4. So SDSU sneaks in as the 4th and final seed. Here's a look at the conference tournament bracket. Of course, this is a double elimination tournament as the Jacks take on top seed and host school Oral Roberts Wednesday. In the other matchup, the 3 seed Fort Wayne takes on number 2 Omaha. The championship will take place on Saturday, May 28th. We'll have a full recap and highlights on next week's show. And while we'll have to wait and see which Summit League baseball team qualifies for the NCAAs, the conference's track and field national qualifiers were announced earlier this week. We run down some of the top competitors next.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. Last weekend, North Dakota State swept both the men's and women's outdoor track and field championships, so it's no surprise that the Bison's dominance has extended over to the national qualifiers. NDSU leads all Summit League schools with 35 total entries, followed by South Dakota with 14, South Dakota State with 12, Oral Roberts with 11, and 1 apiece from both IUPUI and Omaha. Some notable entries include Oral Roberts' Madison Reynolds, who's qualified in both the women's 2 and 400 meter dash, USD's Tybaski Lewin, who currently has the 10th best time in the men's 110 meter hurdles. The Coyotes' Danielle Waldner is qualified in both the women's shot put and hammer throw. SDSU's Joel Rykow currently has the 9th best time in the 10,000 meters. The Jacks' Jazzalina Black is qualified in both the women's long jump and triple jump. In fact, Black currently has the 10th best mark in all of Division I in the triple jump. North Dakota State's Maddie Mortimer has the 8th best mark in the men's javelin. The Bison's Melissa Kitching will participate in both the 400-meter hurdles and the 4x400-meter relay team. Meanwhile, her teammate Morgan Milbrath has qualified in the 400-meter dash, the 4x400-meter relay team, and in the 400-meter hurdles. NDSU's Conrad Schwarzkopf will compete in both the men's shot put and hammer throw. Peyton Otterdahl has qualified in both the men's shot put and the discus, while teammate Stefan Stroh will compete in all 3 men's throwing events, the shot put, the discus, and the hammer throw. The Bison's Caitlin Weimerskirch will do the same thing as Stroh on the women's side, as she will compete in the shot put, discus, and hammer throw. Coming up next, an Omaha basketball player gets another year of eligibility, but his influence will be felt well beyond the hardwood. His story is next.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Inside the Summit League, and some good news for one of the good guys in the conference. Omaha basketball player Kyler Erickson has been granted a 6th year of eligibility by the NCAA. Erickson is an Omaha native who went to Millard South High School and originally committed to Northwest Missouri State in Division II in 2011 before transferring to UNO in 2013. Erickson played in all 32 games for the Mavericks last season, averaging 3.5 points and 1.8 assists in 19.5 minutes per contest, primarily being used as stability off the bench. And stability has been one of Erickson's finest qualities, as he's provided more than his fair share both on and off the court. Part of the reason he was granted a 6th year of eligibility was to be able to share his unique story on mental health and perseverance. Here's Jay Elson with Erickson's remarkable story of strength in the face of unthinkable circumstances.
Natural ability goes a long way in high school basketball. Kyler Erickson had a lot of it. What he lacked in size, he more than made up for in quickness and creativity. After helping lead Omaha's Millard South High School back to the Nebraska State Tournament for the first time in nearly a decade as a junior, Erickson showed even more promise as a senior. College coaches were taking notice, and it was pretty clear that basketball was a ticket to somewhere. But no one could have predicted the direction the game would take Erickson on January 5th, 2011.
We had a game the night before, and so I hurt my ankle pretty bad in that game, and so I was sitting in class and I asked for a pass to go to the nurse's office just to ice my ankle a little bit. When I was there, we had a student who got suspended that morning and then came back, and he had his father's gun.
Shooting at Millard's house, 14905 Q Street.
Shots fired. Help an officer. 147th Q, Mill South.
Robert Butler Jr., the son of an Omaha police detective, shot 2 people, Assistant Principal Vicki Casper and Principal Curtis Case, in the school's main office. As he left the building, he fired at and missed a school custodian. Debris from that shot injured a school nurse.
We need a medic at the front office. Got a adult male down with an injury to the head, it appears.
One wall separated us from the assistant principal's office and the principal's office, and so I heard, everything there was to hear, and I saw, just a lot of blood.
Down 22, suspect is gone. Robert Butler is his name. Red Honda Accord 2-door.
Police found Butler in his car less than an hour later, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. One of the victims, Casper, died that night. In the wake of the shooting, Erickson was understandably shaken. But the full effects from that terrifying day didn't surface until his freshman year at Northwest Missouri State University.
Everybody's brain is different, and so I know a lot of people who were in the office who saw the same stuff that I did. It hit them a month later, 2 months later, and so for me it hit a year and a half.
Kyler was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD.
I, would wake up a lot of nights and see these ghosts and see these figures. And I didn't want to tell a lot of people because I kind of thought of it just as, something you want to push aside, and I was a college athlete. I didn't want that to affect me or affect my scholarship. And so I kind of just held it in.
As time passed and the symptoms persisted, Erickson realized he needed help. So following his freshman year, Kyler returned to Omaha to begin a therapy program known as Emdr.
It stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so it moves it from one side of your brain to the other, so that's no longer attached with your emotions. We would go in this room and there'd be this, this little panel, this board with lights, all different, shapes and sizes, and you had to focus on these lights while these lights around the room were kind of flashing in all different directions. And so I don't know who came up with it or how, but it does wonders for you.
After 3 months of intense treatment, Kyler's PTSD was virtually cured. The nightmares were gone, and the memories, while still vivid, were no longer crippling. He was emotionally free for the first time since the shooting.
It just completely changed when you go through something like this, and everything my school has and I did, you just kind of soften up and become almost a better person because of it. It's kind of the only choice you have.
It started with forgiveness. Erickson may never understand why Butler pulled that trigger, but he's learned to live with a limitless sense of compassion, a quality he credits to his own struggle with mental health.
these disorders that people have, they can be so strong, and that's what forces people to do stuff like this. And I'm not saying that it's anybody's fault or anything like that, but these things are so much stronger than we think or than we know, and that's why we see all these horrific events that happen.
Erickson, who transferred to Nebraska Omaha in 2013, took things to a new level about a year ago with this self-produced message of hope.
I'm just a kid who dreams of a world with less suicides, less school shootings, less hate, more love, more kindness.
Initially, he wasn't sure what would come of it. That is until his mother showed it to a family member, a war veteran who was in his own bout with PTSD.
He saw the video and then he shared it and then tagged me in it on Facebook. And so then, my friends saw it and they started sharing it, and then the news saw it. They were over there, I think, that same night. And so I was sitting on my computer answering like Facebook messages, emails from, I think it was 5 p.m. till 2 a.m.
The correspondence hasn't stopped, and neither has Kyler. He produced a second video about 6 months later. At last check, his messages had been seen by more than 25,000 people in 13 countries.
I guess my message is just that you're not alone, you're important, you're loved, and you have a purpose on this earth, and so when you think, nobody likes me or nobody cares, I'm putting kind of my name out there and my website, my contact me, call me, whatever it is, because, I care for you, and I want to get you help.
Erickson says countless people, politicians, famous speakers, even athletes, have contacted him. Some just want to say thanks, while others are looking for support from someone that survived the struggle.
A lot of people say, I've gone through the same stuff, I just never wanted to tell anybody, or I didn't want to share that with people. And so since then, a lot of people have opened up and they've gotten help, and they saw kind of what can happen when you make yourself a little vulnerable by sharing that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, you're changing so many lives and opening people's eyes to a world they had never seen before.
Coming up next, more good deeds from student athletes in the Summit League as Western Illinois holds a special day for some very special people in the community.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, for the second time this season, student athletes at Western Illinois have shown their appreciation and dedication to the Macomb community through an event called Connects, using the last part of the Leatherneck's name as a play on words. But through Connects, these athletes are showing compassion and commitment to help those in the Macomb community with special needs.
Take a look around. What do you see? The dictionary definition of connection is a relationship in which a person, thing, or idea is linked or associated with something else. But at the event Connects, it's more than that. It's about the warm embrace, genuine smiles, strong empowerment, continuous laughter, and cherished bonds. The power student athletes have when they share the passion of sports with others, especially individuals with special needs, is an everlasting feeling for both the athlete and participant.
You can take a step back and you look at how special it is to everyone here, and it's a really great experience to know that everyone finds joy in what they're doing.
Everybody shows us love at the events. They fill our stands, they support us. We just go in reverse and show them some love back to them. It means a lot to me because it gives you a sense of fulfillment, and it helps. I mean, if you see the faces on these people that are out here, they're loving it too. So it's just great for everybody, and I'm loving every second of it too.
All the athletes and the participants, they bring so much joy to each other, and everyone who leaves here leaves much happier. And someone who just walked out said that this is the best event they've seen at Western, and it made their heart so happy to see this.
I just need to see our, all the sports interacting with these kids and just having a great day.
And just see how blessed they are to be able to be a college athlete. I think that's the thing that sometimes they even take for granted.
Connects is about the connection one develops with Leatherneck athletes. on April 9th, 2016, with the involvement of 130 student athletes, over 30 individuals with special needs became a part of the Leatherneck family.
What does it mean to come out here to connect and kind of have fun with the student athletes?
Learning a lot of new people.
Favorite part of the day so far?
Football and dancing. I appreciate Western University for letting me come out here and play all these games and meet all these football players, anybody, you know.
Play soccer at all?
Football too.
Football too?
Yeah.
Play catch a little bit?
Yeah.
These kids, or athletes I should call them, are having all kinds of fun. I've been asking around because I'm a coach, and they're all smiling, which is what we believe in, a lot of smiles, and we also believe in a lot of fun, and they are having fun.
It wouldn't have been possible without the student athletes or the participants. I think everyone had such a great time today. Connects is a testimony of student athletes creating bonds outside of the classroom, court, field, or pitch. When you combine the heart, strength, and tenacity in both the participants and student athletes, the result can be irreplaceable.
Great job by all the Leathernecks once again. They held a similar event back in September, and it looks to be a staple of the Macomb community for years to come. Next week, it's our season finale, where we'll have a complete recap of the Summit League baseball tournament and find out who advanced to the NCAA tournament, plus much more on next week's season finale of Inside the Summit League.